About a week ago, I would say sometime just before last weekend, I'm sitting down and I'm watching a video on my cell phone. And as I'm sitting down and I'm just listening to this video, there's something that I'm catching wind of that would left me with no other choice but to screenshot the image in which I see. Now later on in this video, I will showcase those screenshots so y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. But after taking these screenshots, I decided to send them to David Carroll. And today is Mother's Day Sunday. I actually was supposed to produce this video earlier during the week, but now that I think about it, this couldn't have been no better of a day to produce this video than on a Mother's Day Sunday. Now, if you watch the video that he produced on Saturday, he stated the reason why he made that video is due to the information that I sent him, which also was prompting him to make a video in the Rabbit Hole Productions. And now dealing with this, looking at this image that I caught wind of, I decided to sit down and produce this video. And of course, we are dealing with the divestment community. And we all have heard their talking points. You also have a segment of black women who reference, why are there so many single mothers? Okay. And actually, like I said, Mother's Day is the perfect day to produce this video because this actually ties in to single mothers. But when many of these black women, when many of these sisters sit up here and they talk about why are there so many single mothers, I would turn back around and say that that's a rhetorical question because many of you already know the answer. Many of you have either lived it or you know somebody who's lived it. So to sit back and ask that question really at this point in time makes no sense to me. But yet, if you really want to act as if you're that naive as far as when it comes down to single mothers and how they exist in the first place, I direct you better to no other than a Cynthia G. She is a perfect illustration, and I will continue to use her as an example every time we want to talk about single mothers. And the reason why, or not, I'm not going to say why we talk about single mothers, but how they come into fruition in the first place. And the reason why I'm going to use her as an example, because Cynthia G is who I would like to classify as a seasoned veteran. Okay? And what do I mean when I say seasoned veteran? A seasoned veteran is somebody who simply knows the climate in which they operate in. They know how to navigate through this safely because they're not new to this. This is not unfamiliar territory with them. And considering the fact that she is a seasoned veteran and understands this, and how do we know that she's a seasoned veteran? Listen to her talking points. What are her talking points? She refers to black men as beta males, weak beta male coons, selling t-shirts, calling black men weak beta male coons, rebuke the dust. This is what she does. Also, in addition to that, referring to black men as bed bucks and breeders. This is what she has stated in the past. And even came forth to say, listen, I'm not backing down from these positions, even after she got caught in her recent situation being impregnated by what many would classify as a breeder, according to her narrative. And the fact that she found herself in that situation only speaks volumes. It's very telling. Because at this point in time, there's no excuse. No, sister, we can't give you a pass on this one. Okay? And anybody who knows me knows that I love to use railroad terminology in my videos. And let's take a locomotive engineer, for instance. And you can put these two in the same category. Locomotive engineers, who I would classify as what? A seasoned veteran. Now, there's extensive training that you have to go through before you can become PC qualified on any railroad. When I say PC qualified, it simply stands for physical characteristics. And once you are physical characteristics qualified, that's when you now can operate on any territory of that railroad. And you know how to do it safely. When you're PC qualified, this means you know where all the speed restrictions are at. You know the speed limits on your track. You know where the curves are at and when you need to reduce your speed so you can safely crest that curve without derailing that train. You know what speed you're supposed to be in whenever you're in interlockings, when you're pulling into terminals or leaving terminals. You know what speed and when you need to reduce speed or resume speed. This is what you know. You know what territories, yard limits, and whatnot that you need to be down at restricted speed, a speed not exceeding any more than 15 miles per hour. You know this. And this is also another reason why when locomotive engineers fuck up and derail trains, in many cases they try to pin them with jail time. In many cases, they're never going to operate on another railroad again. And the reason why this is because why? You have had extensive training to know what not to do. So when you come around a 30-mile-an-hour curve doing 80 and you fly a train off of the tracks damn near into the Hudson River, listen, man, we got to lock your ass up. This is what many railroads will try to do. When you're entering into a terminal where you're supposed to be doing 5 miles per hour and you exceed that speed limit by more than twice the speed and go up to 21 miles per hour, listen, man, we got to hit you with some consequences behind this. You can't operate here anymore. Why? Because you knew this. You've done this move plenty of times, man. You know what you need to do when you pull into this damn terminal. You can't fly in here at no damn 21 miles an hour. What the fuck's wrong with you? Oh, I don't remember. I had sleep amnesia. Nah, we got to do something about this. So they don't give these guys a pass. And even if they don't serve jail time, like I said, typically they will never operate on another railroad again. If that was their dream job, they know that they're finished, they're done. They will never sit inside of the cab of another locomotive ever. Why? Because you fucked up. You can't do this. We're not giving this a pass. Safety is the first importance of operation. Likewise, when it comes down to a Cynthia G, we can't give you a pass. Why? Because you're a seasoned veteran. You're PC qualified. And how do we know that you're PC qualified, whether we agree with your talking points or not? Just listen to her rhetoric. Listen to her talking points. The fact that she mentions and references that she likes to go ahead and dig up evidence, will read literature before she spews her talking points about black men. So now when you find yourself under this condition or being as seasoned as you are, the question remains is how do you now find yourself in a scenario after referring to black men as bedbugs and breeders, now ending up impregnated by a guy who has 5 children from 4 different women, and here you are about to become the 5th with his 6th child? How do you explain that? There's got to be some serious consequences behind this. Why? Because you're PC qualified. And if them damn engineers can't get a pass because they fell asleep behind a throttle or missed a signal or I forgot where I was at, I had sleep amnesia. No, if we ain't giving them a pass, we most certainly can't give you a pass. Not for one damn second. Not for 1 second. So once you're a seasoned veteran, there's just certain decisions that you do not make. And what we can gather behind that scenario, and I broke it down significantly in the last video that I produced, is where were the expectations of this man that you were sleeping with? Now, let me go ahead and make this perfectly clear if I didn't do it in that video. I don't care who you sleep with. If you want to have a one-night stand, that's your business. I'm not here to judge anybody behind that. I'm not here to blame anybody for that. But listen, at the end of the day, if that's what you're doing, if you're not in a committed relationship, if you are not with this person, if this person has not shown you not the slightest bit of commitment, how do we know this? Because once again, like I said in my last video, this man will not even come forth to make a video defending the woman who is impregnated with his child. And that speaks volumes. So the question remains at large is what commitment did he have to provide you with? If he has offered you no game plan, why are you allowing this man to impregnate you? And Cynthia G is just one of many of these women who find themselves in these meaningless situations, who all of a sudden turn out pregnant and don't know how it happened. It wasn't her fault. It takes 2 to tango. I mean, they'll give you all the frivolous, lame excuses that they can think of. I mean, Cynthia G is also the same woman who has made videos saying, hey, I can sit here in my apartment and lay on my back with my legs spread wide open and I'm not going to end up impregnated. Now, when you hear shit like this, I mean, come on. Come on. The fact that she would even attempt to argue this point. I mean, here you are referencing if you're laying in your apartment with your legs spread wide open in a locked apartment where nobody has access to the door except for you. Well, you have not invited nobody to show up at your damn house. Of course, you're not going to end up impregnated. Of course, it takes two to tangle. When y'all make points like this, you're gaining no ground. You haven't covered anything. You're just saying the same shit that we already know. So to even make a reference like this is stupid. But this is what they'll say and hope that somebody's actually dumb enough to buy into this bullshit. No, the only way that you end up impregnated is if you allow somebody to run up in you, raw dogging you, and nutting inside of you. And despite the fact that once all this has happened, you still have control to prevent that shit from even happening in the first place. So that man really has no say-so after conception. That's where the problem lies. You see, this is what these women never want to talk about. So once again, when we sit up here and we talk about how do single mothers come into fruition, I'll tell you this, once again, it's a rhetorical question because many of you black women know the answer because had you not lived that experience yourself, either you know women who have lived this experience or you are one of these very same women. And if not, I direct you to none other than Cynthia G, and that right there just sums up my point in a nutshell. Now, with that being said, the next excuse that black women will run on us is, well, see, y'all want to blame us for this, but see, had you black men been leading and doing what you're supposed to be doing, we wouldn't be having children out of wedlock. And that's another vague talking point as far as I'm concerned, because when you listen to black women say this, we know good and damn well black women do not care to be led by black men. They say this because it's good to now be able to pin black men into a corner after making all these fucked up choices, because this is how they operate. And how do we know that black women don't care to be led? Now, they can tell you, well, if you just said it a little bit nicer, if you didn't generalize all of us, if you didn't paint us with such a broad brush, man, listen, I'm done with that shit, man, seriously. It doesn't matter how the hell you say it to them. They don't like the fact that you're merely saying it. They don't want to be called out. This is also another reason why they run with the excuse, especially some of the most ratchet of females, and say only God judges me. Why? Because they don't want you calling them out. This is how they operate. And when you hear them saying these things the same way they don't want black men judging them, calling them out, is the same way they don't even want black women doing so. Now, another argument that is made by gremlins, or one in particular, y'all know who I'm talking about, here on YouTube, is that you black men are out here molesting black children. Now, this is coming from a divester. And we're going to deal with her a little bit later on in this video. But when we hear these talking points, you got to start to look at what goes on in your environment. Because the girl who swirls put forth an article and reference how black women were showing up at a school in bombs, dressed up in any old way, pajama pants, skimpy clothing, see-through shirts with their breasts all exposed. I mean, there was a video clip or image that took place years ago where you had a black woman showing up to her school, to her child's school, first day dropping him off or waiting in line to get him in there, whatever it was, who felt that it was a wise idea to show up in a pair of booty dukes. This is what a black woman did. Now, when Crystal Carrison referenced this article, you had a black woman who was the principal of that school and decided to implement a dress code, not for the children, but for these dusty, raggedy black females who were showing up at these schools or at this school looking any old type of way. Now, when she did this, she got pushback. She got pushback from other black women. How dare you call us out on what we do? How dare you tell us to show up at the school dressed in an appropriate and in a respectable manner? They don't do this. And yet these are the same groups of women by large that tell black men that sit up here and literally demand our respect. But this is the way they conduct themselves by large. You don't believe me? Just take a look on Instagram. You look at any of these dark-skinned women pages or these black women pages that promote the beauty of black women, and even just random images on Instagram, you're going to find black women posting pictures and videos with their bare ass cheeks out. By large, this is what I have seen. Yet these are the same groups of women who want to or demand respect out of black men. And in many cases, it was even more fucked up. These are the same women who have children or are rearing little boys. And what becomes so goddamn disturbing about this, and this is another reason why I oppose the leadership of any woman, because women by large make poor choices, especially when it comes down to child rearing. This is another reason why Blackistan looks the way it is. And what furthermore lets you know this, and when you analyze their mind frame and where they're at mentally, their mental capacity, there's no way in hell you can look at these women and say, well, yeah, they would make good mothers. They're absolutely not. And now this is not a slight or put down to all of them, but unfortunately, we have too large of a percentage of women who are doing this. I mean, the fact that you have women on Instagram who would post pictures bent over to the side, showing their asshole out, or in many cases wearing spandex or little boom shorts. Many of them who are rearing small children, many of them who are rearing little boys. And according to the narrative of the girl who swirls, and these are her words, not mine, after her witnessing this, what took place at that school by them women, had to conceive the point of many brothers who say, you know what, hey, is it any wonder why some of these men, as they get older, want nothing to do with black women? Now, this is not me attempting to justify this. This is not me attempting to explain this shit away. But I want y'all to think about something. If you ever want to know where the simp mentality comes from, black boys, and I'm going to say this is more so traumatizing on black boys, because we are taught as children to defend your mother's honor at all costs. Even when she is being a ratchet bimbo, you still have to defend her honor at all costs. As a matter of fact, even when it comes down to grown men and boys, if you want to get into a fight with these people, with a black man or a black boy, if you want to come to fist real fast, talk about his mother. That'd be the fastest way to get this Negro to come to fist, to come to blows. That's what it is. What you say about my mama? Now imagine you as a little boy. And this is something that's just boy. Let me put a pause on that for a second. But this is something that's really strange to me, because you have some of these women who talk about, well, you black men are molesting the children. You are raping the kids in the black community. How? When black men are not the ones in the household. We clearly see that they're not the ones showing up to these damn schools and Speedos and showing it. I mean, they're not the one doing this. These are black women doing this. But when they want to sit up here and say these things, I mean, what they're not going to tell you is how many black children are molested by black women. They're not going to talk about this. They're not. And even if there is a man in the household molesting these children, how did he get there? But let's put a pause on that one. But now when you can envision your mother as a small boy showing up to your school with a pair of booty dukes on around a bunch of kids, with a see-through shirt on with her nipples exposed in front of a bunch of kids, to the point where the principal has to implement a dress code before you can even show up to this damn school. Because you as a mother don't even have enough respect for your offspring, for your child, at his place of where he is supposed to be educated and getting groomed to become a productive citizen in society for when he gets older. You don't even have enough, dignity about yourself to respect that and to present yourself as a classy, respectable woman. You can't even do that. No, what you got to do is show up to this damn school with a pair of booty dukes on, spandex on, see-through shirts with your titties all hanging out. This is what y'all feel is a wise decision to do. And now when you think about this, that's just on one small scale. If a woman is bold enough, if a woman has the nerve to show up at her child's place of education dressed this way, what won't she do when she's home alone with that child? That's the real question that needs to be asked. What's taking place inside of this household? And I told y'all years ago, the same way many of them want to talk about black men and molesting these damn kids are the same way they won't reference how they're the ones molesting these children. You don't believe me? Then I direct you to somebody else, R. Kelly. Another example. How did he become the sexual deviant that he is? Because he was molested by a black woman. And despite the fact that he was molested by a woman, despite the fact that he has displayed his sexual deviance for the entire world to see. Yet and still it is black women who have supported him, who have defended him, who were throwing panties, their dirty panties on the stage while he was performing. This is what they were doing. So once again, when we talk about, well, you black men are in the communities molesting these children, well, what do you say about the women who are rearing these kids by themselves? Who are most likely walking around the household in front of these kids dressed inappropriately. In many cases, walking around the household with your son who's about to approach his teenage years, and you walking around with a pair of booty dukes on. You turn around and look behind you, your son's sitting there with a heart on, with a stiffy. Your son walking up behind you while you cooking grits and eggs in the morning, playing with your butt cheeks, hanging all out the back of your shorts. And instead of you viewing this as a problem, as I have known black women to do this, instead of viewing this as a problem, this is funny to you. Stab, little Ray Ray. This is what it is. It's cute to them. It's cute that your son is sitting behind you with a hard on looking at his own mother's ass. I mean, come on, man. Are you serious? This is what some of y'all do. And to think how traumatizing this can be. I mean, I've referenced other scenarios where I've known some brothers who have dated single mothers, showed up to the household, and the woman is walking around the house butt naked around her child. And when you ask her, why do you walk around naked in front of your kid? Oh, that's just the way we do it around here. I mean, listen, man, I can't imagine myself being a man in front of my small child, walking around with my phallus swinging all over the goddamn place. I'm just not going to do that shit. I don't give a fuck if he's 2 years old. I'm not doing that. I'm going to have a pair of clothes on, some sweatpants and a shirt, and I'm good. But if you leave it up to these females, oh, no, that's just the way we get down. What? Some of these brothers have even come to me explaining, well, yeah, that's the same female who, yeah, I was hitting it one time, and the kid is in the same room, and she's saying, trying to play it off as if we're playing WWE. I mean, this is the shit that goes on. A lot of you black men have experienced your mothers doing this. Many of y'all might have drowned it out. Many of y'all don't want to acknowledge it, but many of you have experienced this. How many of you black men, how many young boys find themselves, just imagine that for a second. You as a young boy going to school and you're embarrassed for your own mother to show up. Because you know when she shows up, the same way how some of these little boys might be sitting there with hard-ons when their mama's walking around butt naked, little butt cheeks shaking all over the place, cooking up a storm in front of that little kid, is the same way them boys in that damn school that you going to catch a hard-on when they see your damn mama. So now imagine you as a damn child trying to defend the honor of your mother. Because this is what you're taught to do when you're as a boy. Defend your mama's honor at all costs. Even when she is being a ratchet bimbo, you defend her honor. And now imagine that when your mama show up, she coming there with some booty shorts on or a pair of spandex all up her ass crack, tight shirts on, cleavage hanging all that, or see-through shirts. And you got a bunch of your friends sitting there staring back. Now, for those of you who don't believe me that a lot of these boys are protective over their damn mothers, I mean, I've referenced scenarios in the past where I'll be walking down the street, going one way, a woman with a child coming at me, going another way. And as she's approaching me, and she's holding the hand of this little boy who's right behind her, I can see the look in that boy's eyes. I can see him staring at me. Because he has an idea of what I'm going to want to take a look at. So, and as she walks past, and I'll even wait a little while. Hopefully that little boy ain't looking at me. Hopefully he forget all about me. I still turn around and half a block down, he's still staring back at me. Why? Because he knows good and damn well, yeah, you trying to check out my mom. You better stop. So the fact that he feels at a young age, 3 years old, 4 years old, that he has to do whatever is in his power, within his power at that time as a toddler, to defend his mother's honor. Now, of course, he can't fight no grown man, but what he can do is give him a dirty stare and let him know, listen, I see your motherfucking ass. Stop looking at my damn moms. But what this lets me know is that he has experienced this in the past. This is not the first time this has happened. Why? Because his mama didn't have enough respect for him. to dress appropriately to the point where she won't be out in public with him and he has to literally defend her honor. His mother didn't have enough respect for him to show up at the place where he is being taught and being prepared and groomed into manhood. To show up as a respectable woman to the point where he would not have to waste his time defending her honor as a small child. This is why these females do what they do. Many of them don't care about their kids. And the same way she wants likes and hits and views on Instagram or some other stupid ass social networking site is the same mentality that she presents when she shows up at that school around a bunch of fucking children. A grown ass, dusty female. Looking for the attention of small boys to be staring all up in her ass crack, looking all down her chest. Oh yeah, making little stupid sly ass remarks and jokes about her. Oh man, I can't wait to hit that. When can I get it behind your mama's ass cheeks? Oh, I love to grab at them droopy titties. Just saying little stupid shit. Now imagine you as a child having to defend your mama's honor because she's too fucking stupid to know how to present herself, having some respect for you and enough dignity to understand that, listen, this is not about me. This is about my son. This is about my child. So when I show up here to this event, I'm going to look the part. They don't do this. Which is also another reason why your girl who swirls had to conceive that point and say, yeah, well, maybe I can understand why some of these black men, as they get older, want nothing to do with black women. Now, once again, these are not my words. I'm just paraphrasing now. Okay? But that's a clear explanation. And that just shows you the lack of respect that many of these women have for their damn children. In many cases, you're traumatizing your kids. This is another reason why single mothers have been frowned upon. Now, I'm going to take you down a little path with me. And I've referenced how I used to date single mothers. And this is, of course, when I was younger, didn't know any better, and didn't view them as a problem. And we're talking about damn near 10 years ago. Actually, this is a little less than 9 years ago. While I was dating a single mother. This is back, I believe, 2010. And I remember, this is back when I was on these dating websites, these dating apps. And I since then got off of all of them. I believe I deleted mine back in like 2011, 2012. I was done with these shits. Tired of them. But anyhow, long story short, I sent her a message. And when I read her profile, I knew she had a little girl. That I knew. But I wasn't opposed to dating her because she had a child. I didn't have a problem dating a woman with a child. As a matter of fact, if things would have worked out, I would have had no problem stepping up and playing the father figure. But like I said before, that was me damn near 9 years ago. 2019, I wouldn't do that. But long story short, so I messaged her. We exchanged messages for a bit, exchanged numbers, talk over the phone for about a week. Make plans to meet up on a Friday. I'm thinking, okay, we could grab something to eat, maybe go see a movie, or we'll find something to do. And I'm thinking we can do this shortly during either the mid to early evening hours on that Friday. So now we're rolling into the night. Now it's after 9, damn near 10 o'clock. And she finally calls me and says, okay, you can start heading over. Gives me her address. I show up. Get out of the cab. I call them outside. Okay, come to the door. When I come to the door, a little boy answers that door. This boy couldn't have been no more than 10, 12 years old. Now, I knew she had a little girl. I did not know about any other children. She eventually comes downstairs. And when she comes downstairs, she's wearing nothing but like a gown or some type of silk scarf that barely... and this is a full-figured woman. Full-figured woman. Who's wearing this gown or this scarf or wrap, whatever it was, barely covering her ass cheek and body bursting out of the goddamn gown. So I go upstairs now. And I'm thinking, okay, we're getting ready to step out, so we ain't gonna be here too long. So I didn't think too much of it at that point in time. And like I said, at that time, I was more or less naive. Certain things I didn't pay close attention to. Long story short, we end up going to grab something to eat and bringing it back to our house. She don't want to go nowhere. She just want to eat and lay up in the house. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm sitting in the bedroom eating this meal, and all of a sudden I'm hearing, or she goes downstairs to answer the door. The bedroom door is partly cracked open. Now this is a 3-bedroom house that she lives in. She had 3 children. No. In addition to her child, she had 3 other children that were there. So altogether, you had 2 girls and 2 boys. So 4 kids altogether. Now the kids eventually go to the bed and they're sleeping in the other room. She goes downstairs to open the door, and I'm seeing flashlights and hearing the sounds of walkie-talkies in the living room. Eventually that comes to an end and she comes back into the room. Tells me that the cops were here. Okay. So I asked her, I said, okay, why were the cops in your home? Oh, well, they were looking for drug dealers. Well, they need a search warrant before they can even enter anybody's home. Why would they come into your home? And then it started to dawn on me. Okay, now I get it. I get it. Because the same way when she came downstairs to greet me when I first went up in that house was the same way she came downstairs to greet those cops. Wearing that little gown, that little scarf, whatever the fuck it was. And when they seen that big ass, they said, okay, yeah, we got to find, could we just come in and check your apartment? You know, they knew good and damn well there was nothing in it. They didn't even go to the fucking bedrooms. They just came into the living room. All right, we see that big ass. We won't get the hell up out of here. Came in there and left. Shortly after that, okay, all that gold comes to an end. We're in the bedroom. Eventually, one thing leads to another. We start getting it in. Now, she's on top at this point in time, and she's going in. And I'm sitting back, and I start to notice that the door was cracked open. I'm thinking to myself, okay, why is it? As a matter of fact, it wasn't cracked open. It was pretty wide open to the point where anybody could have seen had they walked past that room. And as this is going on, I'm thinking, okay, that's a little disturbing. Maybe we need to try to close that. But of course, she's on top, so I'm sitting there, all right, fuck it, whatever. Hopefully they don't wake up. They just stay to bed, and they and nothing happens. Then the headboard starts making noise, hitting up against the wall. Dum 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 dum. Now, the thing that I find strange is I'm the only one looking for a pillow, a piece of blanket, or something, anything that could be stuffed in between that headboard and the wall to stop that noise. Now, as I'm looking at her, as I'm trying to do this, I'm looking at she's just riding, having a hallelujah good time. Riding the baloney pony, playing hide the pickle, bury the salami, riding the one-eyed monster. I mean, this is what she was doing. Jumping up and down on the phallus. This is what she was doing. And I'm thinking to myself, does any of this even matter to you? And I don't know what it is when it comes down to women. Maybe it's just me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, it probably is just me. That when I'm trying to be as politically correct about this as possible. But it seems like whenever these scenarios go down, that all consciousness seems to get lost within these women. Everything logical, everything sensible about them seems to fly out the window. It's almost as if they're kind of possessed. A demon is taken over them. And they're just caught up in the moment doing what they're doing. Don't care how much noise they're making. Don't give a fuck who hears them in the background. Don't care who they disturb. Don't care who walks in and sees them. Fuck it. I'm riding the phallus right now. This is what they're doing. But once again, maybe it's just me. But I've never operated in that fashion. Because even in that moment, I still can gain control over myself to the point I say, hold on, we can't be making this kind of noise. That's a problem. We got to find a way to quiet this down just a bit. Nobody needs to know what the hell is going on in here. But this is what actually had taken place. Now, I referenced this scenario with this woman years ago. I told y'all this is the same woman who tried to entrap me with a false pregnancy. And what she was hoping was that she was going to say, oh, I'm pregnant. Mind you, now she was never pregnant, but hoping I was going to say, you know what, fuck it. I might as well just start nutting inside of you since you're already pregnant with my seed. And eventually end up making her pregnant. And when she told me this, I said, nah, I'm just going to leave this one alone. I'm going to wait for a minute to see what goes on. And that even furthermore infuriated her. That I wasn't having sex with her. She got pissed off with me. Started playing all kinds of head games. This is what went on. So now when a lot of y'all sit up here and y'all want to talk about, well, how the single mothers come into place, this is just how this happens. Now, there's a couple of strikes with this here, okay? Also, when we talk about child molestation, there's quite a few strikes on this one here. Strike number one was her letting a man show up to her house and spend the night there when your children are right in the opposite room. Strike number two was letting police officers without a warrant show up in your house, walk around your fucking house while you're there with your children by yourself with a random man that you just met. Strike number three was a matter of you getting it in, riding the phallus, bury the sausage, so to speak. Mind you now, while your headboard is making all kinds of noise up against the damn wall, and you don't feel no reason to stop that because you ain't concerned, or not the least bit concerned, that one of your kids are going to walk in and see your ass getting it in. That right there, these were all red flag signs, and it started to dawn on me little by little. In addition to this, there was also a couple of other things that took place. Now, I would notice she would show up at my house, and what she told me about those kids is that the other children that were in there were her nieces and nephews, that they were her brothers and sisters' kid. Funny thing is, not one time have I ever seen the brother or sister come to get those kids. As a matter of fact, every time I showed up there, those children were there. I dealt with her for about a month, even to the point where she started coming to my house. And at first it didn't dawn on me, but after a while I started thinking to myself, okay, you're showing up over here. Who's over there with those kids? I don't think they're with your brother or your sister. I don't think that's the case. I think they're there by themselves. But I had no way of proving it. So, like I said, this was damn near 10 years ago. So this is just what I'm referencing. There was one particular night when I showed up and she was cooking food. So when I get upstairs, I asked her, I said, listen, do you have anything to drink with this food? She said, no, but I'll send so-and-so to go to the store to go get you something to drink. Now, this is that young boy that she was going to send to the store. Now, this is after 9 o'clock at night in a dangerous neighborhood. How do I know this? Because I used to live there in that neighborhood years ago. So this is a woman who was going to send her child out to the store after 9 o'clock at night to go buy a random stranger something to drink. This is what she was doing. And the reason why I conclude that these are her children, because shortly after I stopped talking to her, about a year later, 2 years later, she moved to another state. And those same kids went to that state with her. But we're not going to get into that right now. So when she told me this, I said, I can't. We can't have no child going outside by themselves. If he's going to go to the store, I'm going to go with him. Make sure he's safe. And I thought I was doing something noble at the time, which it was, but it was still a dangerous move. And the way I should have handled that was to say, you know what? No, he's going to stay home and I'll go to the store. But right here, this showed me just how dangerous, and this just suddenly dawned on me just a second ago, that this woman was willing to send a stranger out with her child to the store by himself late at night. I mean, you go figure this out. Now, there's a reason why I'm referencing all this. Now, if that's not enough, there's also one other thing I got to throw in here. Because there was a point where she had sent me a picture of her in a bra and panties, a little G-string, thong or whatever. Now, we know typically how a lot of y'all love to take these pictures on Instagram, be inside of some dirty-ass bathroom, taking a selfie in front of a mirror with your ass all out the goddamn door. This is typically what y'all do. But no, this selfie wasn't taken like this. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even a selfie. She was on one side of the room while whoever was taking that picture was on the opposite side. Now, I've referenced this in a video years ago, which is probably set to private by now, but this is the reason why I'm going to go ahead and reference it now. Anytime that I've been to her house, I've noticed there was never a tripod there. So you can't tell me, well, you set it to self-time, and I'm just going to go ahead and get in my pose, and I'll put on a tripod and take the picture like that and send it to you that way. No, that's not what it was. There was no tripod in the house. There was no other adult in the house. The picture, from what I see, was a recent picture. So the question that I asked by large was, who was taking these pictures? The only ones I seen in this household were small children. So I'm going to conclude that you had this grown-ass woman having small children taking explicit pictures of this woman so she can send it off to some man that she's giving it up to. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. Now, I told y'all before that if these women are showing up to schools with see-through tops on and booty shorts on, or tight spandex, in certain cases, see-through spandex, if they're doing this at a school, then imagine what they're doing at home. Likewise, when I showed up at her house one day, and this has actually happened several times. The first day I was there, she was there walking around with this little dress on. If you bend over, all that shit's gonna be out the back door. That's what's gonna be. Another time, she's coming out the damn shower with a little robe on. Robe that barely could cover her big ass. Like I said, this is a full-figured woman walking around a house full of small children. And it's not like she went from the bathroom and came straight to her bedroom and got changed up. No, this woman came out of the bathroom, went into the bedroom, didn't change up, kept the towel on, walks around the house for a bit. Now, bending over, cleaning shit up. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, okay? Now, from where I stood when she bent over, I can see everything underneath there. Can you imagine a child that's 3 feet tall, what they're going to see? How much more they can see? Can you imagine a child that's 3 foot 6 inches tall, what they'll see? 4 feet tall. Exactly. So once again, like I said, if these women are willing to show up at schools dressed in this fashion, what won't they do when it comes down to them being in a closed environment with their children? So when you have black women that want to sit up here and blame the child molestation rate on black men, or you black men are out here molesting all these goddamn kids, first of all, there's so many things wrong with that statement itself, it's not even funny. There's so many holes that could be poked in that argument that it's not even funny. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. But the reason why I reference this is because when we want to talk about the child molestation rate, I would not put it past this female to think that maybe there was something more that met the eye going on behind the scenes that you weren't telling me. And after a while, I started putting two and two together, and I started realizing, okay, this bitch is fucking crazy. She's crazy. I can't have a relationship with her. Now, I was up for having a relationship with her. The times when I wanted to take her out on dates, that never happened. She got mad. She got pissed off. I think only one time we went on a date, and that was it. Other than that, just come to the house and get it in. I don't give a fuck. Get your ass over here. This is a single mother. So when y'all sit up here and y'all talk about where those single mothers come from, why are they shunned upon, as they should be? Because single mothers come from, especially when you have more than one child, now you have a history, a pattern of making fucked up decisions. But when you deal with women who sit up here and they talk this nonsense, I mean, look in the mirror is what I'm going to tell you. If you're not going to look in the mirror, God damn it, then you got girlfriends who exhibit this behavior. And if you don't have girlfriends who exhibit this behavior, then I direct you to none other than Cynthia G. And that is as far as I need to go with that. Now, I reference all that to say this, because we have the Divestment group that talks about they have divested from Blackistan. We are a group of divested women. You listen to David Carroll's video, he mentioned, well, you are Blackistan. If you listen to Brian Solange, who has made a video series, How Can You Divest From Yourself? All of these talking points that directly correlate to a talking point that I made roughly about a year ago. How is it that you claim that you are a divested woman when you still live in Blackistan? When your main base and demographic of people that you're around are black people. A sizable portion of them, or mainly, be it black men. How do you now claim that you are divested? How do you claim to be a divested woman when not only do you hang around black people, not only do you live in a black community, but you're still dating black men, having sex with black men, procreating, having black men's babies? How do you find yourself doing this? But if you leave it up to them, they're going to tell you that they are divested. And I've told y'all before, as much as they talk this bullshit, it don't surprise me if at late nights You have some Negro creeping up in that household as much as she is divested, planting his phallus in between her legs. It would not surprise. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go on a limb and say that. So when a lot of you black men think that these women are leaving and they're packing their bags and we're just divesting and we're leveling up, no, you're not. No, you're not. Not for one goddamn second. Many of y'all are still dealing with black men. You just don't want it to be known, but you're still dealing with them. Now, there's something that is obvious in this video. As a matter of fact, this video and the last vlog video that I produced, the pink elephant sitting in the room. And that is the fact that you don't see my face on camera or see me sitting in the video talking directly in real time. This is a pre-recorded video that is displaying still images. Now, I've also mentioned over a year ago that I was planning on taking my face off of camera. Now, it might have taken me a little bit more than a year to do so, but this is where the direction I'm going in now. And as much as I know many of y'all are going to miss seeing my illustrious image, it's not to say that I won't produce videos in the traditional old-fashioned way that I've done it. But considering the fact that I've been on YouTube long enough, I'm a seasoned veteran, it's time to evolve and change just some stuff up every now and then. But I haven't decided to make videos like this because there's something physically wrong with me and why I can't show my face. But I can get on camera anytime I desire and show my face. Likewise, when it comes down to many of y'all who ask, why do you have on a pair of sunglasses in your videos? Now, I can wear sunglasses or take them off whenever I'm ready. Really doesn't matter. There's no particular reason to ask of why. Well, I've explained the reason, but as far as physical reasons why, no. But the same way, I understand that I have the ability to get on and off camera whenever I want to. Show my face on camera whenever I want to. I understand that that is an ability, despite the fact that anybody on YouTube can do this, doesn't mean that not everybody on YouTube should do this. Okay? Now, I want y'all to take a look at the image that is being displayed on camera. All right? Now, many of y'all might think that this is what I'm talking about when I say not everybody should show their face on camera. No. Don't focus in on this fat, sweaty, greasy, smelly Negro that you see sitting in the middle of the TV, of your computer screen right now. He's not who I'm referencing to when I say this. Okay? There's a reason why his image is being displayed. And there's going to be other things that I have to show within this image. Actually, another image that I'm going to produce. But that right there, when I looked at that image, it was something that said to me, there's something wrong with this picture. But we're going to put a pause on him really quickly. Because on the other hand, we have this individual who clearly needs medication, who clearly needs professional help, needs to be seeing a psychiatrist, who gets on YouTube and somehow thinks she's in a war. You want a war, you got one. This is what she says. Who sits here thinking that she's cute. And like I told y'all a second ago, just because you have the ability to get your face on camera doesn't mean that you should necessarily get your face on camera. And if you had any advisors in your life, anybody who even remotely gave a fuck about you, they would tell you, get your face off camera. Get a green screen. Put a mask on. Listen, boy, I'm going to tell you something right now. I mean, when you sit back and you look at this, I mean, and some people actually think they got it going on when they do this shit. And when I sit back and I look at this, and I've referred to this individual before as the face only a mother could love. And I have warned you, Negroes. I told you, Negroes, God damn it, don't get on. Listen, man, if you're going to watch one of these videos, damn it, don't you have small children in the household? Because if you do this shit, you're going to find yourself up for the next couple of weeks trying to put those kids to bed. I mean, you figure this. I mean, the nerve, the audacity for some of you Negroes to get online and show your fucking faces. Somehow thinking that you look good. Claiming that you are hashtag divested. The talk about the face only a mother could love. Listen, man, I've warned y'all about this. I've warned you Negroes. if you were gonna watch one of these videos, for this beast to put this monstrosity on display for the entire damn world to see, man, listen. I'm gonna tell you, get that shit off camera. I mean, you might think that you're cute. Somebody done told your black ass wrong, sitting there trying to sound like a white girl, talking in your fake Valley Girl accent with that monstrosity that you display on camera day in and day out. And if nobody has told you this yet, I'm going to be the guy to tell you this. As I said it before, God damn it, get that monstrosity off camera. You are scaring the children. If you see one of these videos come up in your timeline or on your recommended section, it is time to put your damn kids to bed. I'm warning you, Negroes. God damn it, don't you do it. The monstrosity, the audacity to get on camera and show that mug, that monstrosity for the whole damn world to see. I mean, God damn it, you are doing YouTube a disservice. But now, to get into these talking points, we talk about the child molestation rates, okay? This is the same female who has claimed she is quote unquote divested from Blackistan. The same female who talks about the high molestation rates within black children. And that you black men are out here molesting these damn kids. Now these are the same females. We know that there's no father in the household, okay? There's no father in the household. So how are these kids being molested? There's only one way these children could be molested, and just like the scenario that I referenced, the experience that I've gone through dealing with, and that was just one. That was just one single mother. I've known women who had newborns, not even a month old, messaging me on these dating apps. This is what I've encountered. So when they sit up here and they want to talk about the child molestation rates, and when you go ahead and you meet these women for the first time, they bring the entire fucking football field of children with them to meet a damn stranger. So how do you fix your mouth to talk about the child molestation rate, likewise with the image that you see in this picture right now? Okay? Once again, you might look at that greasy, fat, smelly Negro, but he is not who I'm concerned with when I reference this image. Because here you have a woman who claims that she has divested from Blackistan, wants nothing to do with Blackistan, wants nothing to do with black men. This is what she does. Now, when you look at the environment, you know this woman lives in poverty, and you look at what's sitting there in the background. Like I told you before, the fathers ain't even in the household, so we know the only way a man is molesting these goddamn children is if you're allowing them in your household in the first place. Because when you look at that image, and you can see that handicapped biracial boy sleeping on the couch as you have this sweaty, fat, smelly, greasy looking Negro sitting on your couch doing an interview. Don't even have the decency to have that child away from home while you do this shit. Don't even have the decency to go to a park or a library and do this bullshit over there. But to allow this Negro to sit up on your couch, and yet you have the audacity to fix your lips and talk about the high rates of child molestation that takes place in the black community. And if this is taking place by men, these are taking place from random different men, not by the fathers. Because what this shows right here is because you have a biracial child from a white man. Which is another reason why I can produce titles saying that you never can swirl. You can't. Even though you got a biracial child, you can't swirl. Because even after having the white man's child, you don't even have enough respect for this white man. This white man that you worship so much. This white man that you love so much. To protect his offspring and keep his offspring away from random strangers. Now, what's to protect that child in that household? Do you think this gremlin looking of a female can actually protect that child? If that sweaty ass, greasy, fat, sloppy Negro decided to go ahead and put his hands on that damn child? And as far as I'm concerned, that's not the only video that she's done with this Negro where that child was in the background. Because she produced several videos. Another one where she's sitting on her front porch, child running around in the background while she's sitting around interviewing this Negro. Child sleeping on the couch while this Negro is sitting on the same fucking couch with your damn child. You see, if you ever want to know how child molestation takes place in Blackistan, it's because black women are allowing random men around their, as I've experienced myself, around their children allowing them to have exclusive access, being on one-on-one settings around these children, not properly vetting these fucking men. And even when it comes down to a case of men that they claim that they have divested from, that they want nothing to do with, yet at the same time, they are still allowing these savages in their fucking home. Now, there's one of two conclusions that I come to when I seen this shit. Because like I said, listen, a lot of you black men who find yourselves getting nervous when these females are talking about, yeah, we divested and we choosing character over color. We're leveling up. Man, listen, you can still have them. You can still bang them. And it would not surprise me. I mean, the fact that you are this comfortable having this, the two conclusions that I come to, the fact that you are this comfortable having this Negro up in your home, in your private space. And the thing is about me, I don't let people in my home. If I don't know you, I don't let you in my home. There's plenty of people that I'm good friends with who have never stepped foot in my home. I don't like people in my home. That's just the way it is for me. That's how I've grown as I've gotten older. So no, you're not going to just see me letting some stranger up my house. What? Have an interview? Make it the fuck out of here. That ain't happening. So when I sit back and I think of the situation and think that this Negro is now sitting on your couch, a greasy, sweaty, sloppy, stinky ass Negro sitting on your fucking couch, which you are conducting an interview with him, leads me to draw one of two conclusions. Either number one, you're just that fucking stupid, which furthermore highlights my points, or number two, you're fucking this Negro. Behind the scenes, as much as you claim you don't like him, as much as you say you are divested from him, you want nothing to do with him, you're fucking this Negro. There's only one way I can figure that you are so comfortable to allow this Negro in your home. Why is he there? Is he the superintendent? Is he there to fix some shit? And if he's there to fix something, why are you having interviews with this Negro? What's he there for? Inviting him in your house, letting him sit down on a couch while your son sleeps on that fucking couch. I mean, what is this telling you? So much for divesting, huh? So once again, how? How do you find yourself divesting out of a situation where you are still deeply involved with Negroes? You are still sleeping with this Negro. And I've known black men who have told me, yeah, I dug out this black chick who was in a relationship with a white guy. And let this be a warning to a lot of you white guys who say, oh yeah, we're going to get us some chocolate. You want to take on that headache? By all means, do you. But 10 times out of 10, she's still going to be having sex with these Negroes behind your back. I've heard certain stories where Negroes had them in the passenger seat of their car while she's dating your white ass. Here she is getting dug out by these Negroes. This is what's going on. So a lot of y'all might think whatever you want to think about them, do you. I say it like this, better you than me. Because I ain't finna to put up with that bullshit. But now what I also want to reference before I close out this video, because what can really sum this up, right, is a movie from Tyrese Gibson. And I'm no fan of his. But he did a movie back in, I think it was 2000. And many of y'all know the movie, Baby Boy. Y'all want to talk about molestation of black children. You want to talk about how many of these black children, how they wind up so damn traumatized and how they end up having disdains for their mamas. Just take a look at that movie, Baby Boy. A perfect illustration. Now, we know the dysfunctional Negro Tyrese Gibson played, known as Jody, in that movie. But who was he reared by? Okay? You look at his mother. What was his mother engaged in? What happened to his older brother? His older brother got killed after running the streets, after being put out of the house, so mama can have her first boyfriend move in with him. Now just think about that for a second. Mama and her grown kids is allowing some strange Negro to come move up in her house with her and her children. All right, I want you to think about that. Now, talking about that movie, Baby Boy, a lot of y'all will look at that movie, and that movie will sting you to the core. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine, when he looks at that movie, it stings him to the core because it's very similar to what happened to him when he was younger. And y'all seen what took place in this movie. The character played by Vin Raines, what was it, Melvin? He shows up in the house out of nowhere. You don't even see him coming through well, one day he comes to pick up your mom. The next thing you know, he's living there. It ain't even been a fucking month and this Negro is living in the fucking house. So what the fuck is this? Who is he? Why is he here? And y'all seen this shit. You wake up one morning and see this Negro butt ass naked, sweat all rolling down his ass crack, drinking up Kool-Aid and cooking eggs and grits in the morning. What the fuck? Are you serious? You want some Kool-Aid, baby boy? You laying in the bed trying to get some sleep and you could hear him tackling down your mom's, taking it down right in the opposite room. I mean, where did we hear this story at? We seen what took place between him and Vin Raines. We know that Jody did not like Vin Raines' character, Melvin. He didn't like him. They didn't like each other in the beginning of the movie. We knew what was taking place in the beginning of that movie. And when Jody confronted him, said, listen, why don't you talk about your son and what happened with your previous baby's mama? And how you beat her and do what you do. Why don't you explain that? We seen what took place shortly right after that. Melvin grabs him by the neck, puts him in a chokehold in his own fucking home. And says, listen, if we were when I looked at you, I see nothing more but a chocolate bitch. This is what he said. And if we were in prison 10 years, I would make you get on your knees and fix it. What is he talking about fixing? What is he talking about? So here you have this savage who is dating a woman, who is living off of a woman, who is now talking about how if you were in prison, I would make you my chocolate bitch. I would put you down on your knees and make you taste the rainbow. I would make you look square in the eye with the one-eyed monster. That's what's going to happen if we were 10 years in prison. You understand me, boy? Baby boy. Shortly after that happens, his mama coming in. What y'all doing? What y'all doing? Give her a little smack on the butt. You want something from the stove? Right in front of him, smacking his mama's ass. Right, and here's the thing. I'm trying to envision. I'm trying to envision some Negro smacking my mama on the ass in front of me. Man, you got some fucking problems coming your goddamn way. What the fuck's wrong with you? And y'all seen the dysfunction that took place in that damn movie. Y'all seen what furthermore took place in that movie just a little bit later on. When Jody comes home and mama's pissed off because there was a cannabis plant planted in her garden. And we seen the way mama acted around her son. Bringing this dude around, kissing him, tonguing him down. We see this shit right in front of him. No respect, no consideration. And this is indicative to how many black women conduct themselves. Even though this is just a movie. Even though these are just actresses and actors. But this is indicative to how many black women conduct themselves. Many of you black men have experienced this when you were a boy. And back to what I was saying. We've seen what happened when she found the cannabis plant planted in her garden. The first one she quick opts to blame is Jody. Why did you plant this shit in my garden? And of course he said, listen, I don't got nothing to do with that garden. I don't even touch that shit. Why don't you ask Melvin? Of course, when Melvin comes home, she don't have the same vitriol with him. And of course, it's the same typical thing. I'm sorry, baby. Give her a tongue kiss deep, long down her throat, tongue all down her throat. Pat on the booty. You want something from the stove? I'll be damned. And y'all see what happened later on in that movie. So they get into an argument. He said, no, when you thought it was me, it was about to be World War III up in this motherfucker. Now that you found that it was him, everything is all honky-dory. Now, at that point in time, that's when Melvin should have just went in the room and minded his business. You fucked up and you caused some problems. Go in the goddamn room and mind your business. He don't do that. Now, what he does is he sticks his nose into the business once again. And we heard what he said. See, you got an enemy's problem, baby boy. You think your mother is your woman. But this here is my woman. My woman. We see what took place after that. The two confront each other. Listen, I got heat for niggas like you cuz you need to move. And we see what took place. Melvin ends up knocking Jody out. Punching his bald-headed ass through a glass table. And after this whole thing takes place, both of them are like, nah, I'm gonna leave. Nah, fuck that. I'm leaving. No, I'm leaving. And what does mama say? Don't leave. And who was she talking to? Was she talking to her son who just got his bald-headed ass punched through a glass table and stomped by this brute of a Negro? No, she wasn't talking to him. Who she was begging to stay was her thug-like boyfriend. So she was choosing some random Negro over flesh and blood. This is what she was doing. And when that was all said and done, and after Jody left the house, we seen what took place later on that night. Despite the fact that this Negro just assaulted your son, she still decided to give him comfort at the end of the night, laying on top of him, giving him a warm place to bury his penis at the end of the night. Many of you Negroes know what this shit is like. You have experienced this. And I've told y'all before, in order to realize and analyze the shit you've been through in life, you have to realize or come to the conclusion that your mama wasn't shit. And I know that hurts many of y'all. Many of y'all don't want to think about that. You want to think that your mama was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and many of you deep down inside know this. You know this. So when the black woman turns around and talks about why there's so many children out of wedlock, why there are so many situations where child molestation takes place. Now, once again, she was dealing with a man, a Negro, who talked about, if you were in prison with me, I would make you my bitch. This is what he was saying to him indirectly. What does that equate to? Is that not molestation? That's rape. That's sodomy. What do you say behind that? And still, when that was all said and done, after fucking his ass up, after beating his ass in your own home, you figure the first thing she would have done is, nigga, get your ass the fuck up out my house. Don't ever come back around here again or I'm going to call the cops. You figure she'd have done that. She didn't do that. She gave him comfort. She gave him a warm place to bury his penis at the end of the damn night. It was all good and dandy. Many of you black men understand this. Once again, there was no father in the household. So when we want to talk about the molestation rate in Blackistan and how these children are molested, a lot of you divestors, y'all got some fucking nerve talking this stupid shit, especially the gremlin that could sit up here and make these goofy videos talking about, you black men are running around molesting black children, when yet you have a Negro sitting up in your house. And I can't say that you don't know him. I can't say that. Now, no matter what way you slice it, it still don't turn out in your favor. Because if you don't know him, that just shows once again how shit like this happens to black children. And it's due to the fact that you single women are let me rephrase that. Single women are not the cause behind this. It is due to the fact that a sizable portion of you single mothers are allowing strangers in your household and granting them personal access to your children. I mean, if you simply sit back and look at that video and you read the comments in that video, you have other women saying, you ain't afraid having this brute sit up in your house? Why would you invite him into your household? And that's a very legitimate question. This is another reason why I tell y'all, listen, if y'all trying to date outside your race, getting involved with this divestment group, with these goddamn swirlers, that's actually going to harm your cause. You will have little to no luck. Because when men of other races, when men of substance, even within your own race, see that you engage in this level of dysfunctional behavior, sorry, you have not a chance in hell at swirling, dating outside your race, leveling up. Which is another reason why this same gremlin sits online and is now trying to plead with MGTOW guys, with men who want nothing to do with dating women or let alone dating your black ass. And if once again, if you read some of the comments in her comment thread, they're telling her, listen, man, we told your black ass, get the hell out of here. We want nothing to do with your black ass. But is now sitting there trying to level and reason with MGTOW guys. Sitting here, this is another reason why I put forth the image that I showcase right now. Sitting here with dolled up eyeshadow and lip gloss, lipstick. I mean, come on, man. Looking like a fucking gremlin out of a fucking sewer. Are you serious? Having the nerve to put that monstrosity on camera and getting your nasty looking self on camera close up in front of your screen the way you do. You need an advisor in your life. You need some spiritual guidance. You need a mentor. Because if you had one of these in your life, they would have told you, get that monstrosity off camera. God damn it, don't you do it. You're frightening the fucking children. Talk about a face only a mother could love. But this is what these females are doing. And the fact that she's sitting here attempting to plead and level with MGTOW guys, hoping that one of these guys decide to take her on. This is why she's trying to talk all sexy, but while sounding stupid at the same time. Trying to doll herself up, hoping that one of y'all will go ahead and take on that headache. I mean, if you do that shit, god damn it, you on your own. You stupider than what I thought. But like I said, better you than me, because I won't touch that with a 10-foot fucking pole. But these are the reasons why she's doing it, because at the end of the day, all of this hashtag divesting and swirling is not working for her. And what many of you brothers talk about on YouTube, a lot of these women hitting the damn wall, well, I guess you can say she's pretty much there. You have hit the wall. There's really nothing anybody can do with you. I don't even think people want to bend you over. They're not trying to do that. Which is another reason why you sitting on here sounding desperate. Sitting on here making videos complaining that even white guys on these interracial dating apps are giving you a hard time. And I told you before in another video, you are not going to have the pick of the crop. You just don't. You don't fit the description. You're not entitled to this. You don't have the physical characteristics. That's just what it is for you. So I can see and understand why you're sitting on YouTube now pleading with MGTOW guys. But yet while having black men sitting up in your household because you are so heavily divested. And now if you're dealing with a white guy who really wants you to have nothing to do with no Negroes, they're not going to want to see that. You having some greasy ass Negroes sitting on your fucking couch next to your biracial child conducting a fucking interview. They're just not going to want, they're going to want nothing to do with this. And this is why you find yourself in these situations. So when you black women want to talk about the child molestation rate and how is it that you black men are molesting these children, once again, I gave you an entire classic breakdown as of how this happens. The same way I've given you epic breakdowns on how you have so many single mothers in this society. It starts with you. You can sit here in the gate and pass the blame on men, but this didn't start happening until you started having women running the community. When you got men in charge, you don't have these issues. And this is another reason why I'm wholeheartedly against the leadership of women. Too many of you are far too emotional. You're mentally unstable. You don't make rational decisions. You will run a business or run something into the ground based off of poor choices. We've seen this shit time and time again. And these are the reasons why I am wholeheartedly against the leadership of women. People can say whatever they want to say about me. They can call me a sexist, misogynistic, a chauvinist, or whatever you want to classify me as. At the end of the day, I like to win. And time again, we have seen that whenever you put a woman in charge, that you are not on the winning end of the spectrum. And with that being said, that's all I got to say in this video. And I'll catch you on the flip side.